All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Views from the Stands. Uh, this is your host, as always, G Man G Blazing or Gunner. And so we're just going to quickly go over a few things here, guys. On the stand, sports history, as always, we kind of just like to kind of briefly go over our sports history, make sure that we're well versed. But we're really going to touch up on NFL. We're going to talk about the firings, the draft order, and the playoffs, and then just highlight some stuff. We're not going to do any predictions in terms of the playoffs, and then we will though predict and discuss the championship football game tonight, 7:30 Eastern time. Michigan versus Washington. I'm very excited, and I look forward to talking about that in here later on. So we're gonna get into it, guys. We're gonna pump right into this. Very excited to talk about some of the stuff that's going on in this world, guys. And so quickly, 1984, NCAA finally announces that the tournament will have 64 teams. So that this is when we finally get to that 64 bracket, as most of us and everyone are familiar with. Willie McCovey elected in the Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. I think that's a slam dunk, well deserved. Dude's a legend in the game of baseball. Uh, Looks like Gaylord Perry, Ferguson Jenkins, and Rod Crew as well in 1991 were um, elected in the Hall of Fame. Gaylord Perry, very fan favorite here in within my circles. We got a good guy named Franz, and he if you recall the Immaculate Grid, he would literally say, what's it called? Put them all in those boxes. Sorry, in the Immaculate Grid. And so it's funny to see Gaylord Perry's name in this. So 1993, Michael Jordan had his game high 35 points. Mike Schmidt elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame, 12-time All-Star third baseman for the Philadelphia Phillies. Just a solid overall player, stud pretty much. Pretty much from what I know, he didn't really complain. He came in, played ball, and went around, did his business. Um, so the first time in 25 years, wow, no one was elected in the Hall of Fame in 1996. This is when I was actually 2 years old, so that's pretty crazy. Just kind of seeing that. In 2000, guys, we had the Music City Miracle. If you remember when the Titans defeated the Bills in the last 16 seconds with the Kevin Dyson running the length of the field for the game-winning touchdown. Also in '07, we had Florida beat Ohio State, dominated them. Joe Gibbs retires for the second time as the Washington coach. Not Miami. Florida beats Oklahoma in the '09 BCS Natty. We had the 3-16 game where Denver Broncos defeat my Steelers 29-23 with Tim Tebow connecting with a 80-yard touchdown with Demaryius Thomas. Rest in peace to Demaryius Thomas to him. Nash gets his 10,000 assists. Alabama beats Georgia. Looks like in the Natty in 2018. So pretty much a kind of good day of history all around. I would say football mainly in terms of that, college and pros, but we had some baseball, we had some basketball and such. But let's get into these fires, guys. So I mean, so currently we have five total, and we'll go over each one individually here. So the first one, as you can see, Frank Wright was fired on November 27th, following a 1-10 season, his first time in charge with the Panthers. So it was basically the shortest stint since Pete McCauley in 1978. So that's pretty bad just from the shortest tenure as a head coach. You had the first overall pick, Bryce Young. There's talks and rumors that Frank Wright and the coaching staff wanted C.J. Stroud, and the owner came in and said, "Well, I want Bryce Young, so that's why I went with Bryce I'm not saying that's the reason. I think you still build around him, but at the same time, I can kind of understand. So, I mean, that's the first job that's been out there. Obviously, like I said, since November 27th. The big issue, in my opinion, sounds like also the GM got fired. Is the owner. I mean, the owner is pretty much a head case, man. He's throwing drinks at opposing fans. Um, making think this is going to be his third head coach and maybe a second GM or third GM. I'm not really sure on that standpoint, but it's just not looking good, right? And definitely happy that this guy removed himself from the Steelers ownership group. He was somebody that Gillaway wanted to be, his own guy. So still an intriguing place, just because again with the owner of his money. So even though he's a head case, he's got the money, and if you want to do things, he will back you up. So next guy, Josh McDaniels. So Josh McDaniels was fired on Halloween after a 3-5 start. He went 9-16 in 2 seasons as the Raiders head coach. Pretty much just obviously lost the locker room. There's a lot of players, ripping into him basically in his approach. And honestly, how they played, this team in particular, how they played since the firing, I can see that and agree. I mean, there's a total 360 switch, man. You got people smoking cigars now with Antonio Pierce. We'll talk about that more. I do think he deserves a shot. So I mean, we'll probably do like another episode on who I think should be the hires for the NFL. Try to find some time, maybe look over some history, just so get caught off guard or whatnot. But yeah, I can definitely see how they didn't like him. See how he lost the locker room. So I just think this is obviously a good spot as well, just like the Panthers. Mark Davis, he's kind of a head case. Obviously, he's less than head case than Tapper, but he's a character. He's got the money though to back it up. So, in that day, he just wants to win. So good spot as well. Third guy, Brandon Staley, boys and girls. He was fired on December 15th following a 5-9 start. That was basically the 63-21 game that he got blown out was his last game. Obviously, he had Justin Herbert now for the most part, but he got hurt with the index finger pretty much late. At the end of the day, this guy's a defensive guy, and his defense never showed up, in my opinion. Always were scoring, giving up, 30 to 40 points. He never wanted to give up the play calling, and to me, just stubborn. I mean, I did like the guy. I think he could have done some things with the Chargers, and I think that just kind of shows to that roster. This is going to be a big time spot for these people. I don't want to get ahead of myself again, but Harbaugh's going to be a name. Bill Belichick, definitely top names, but I think anybody who's solid basically will succeed here. All right, we'll get our fourth guy, Arthur Smith. So he got fired basically last night, January 7th, after the conclusion of the season, right? 7-10. He's basically had that record each of his 3 seasons. He's got talent, both sides, defensively and offensively. You got Bijan Robinson, you got Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Tyler Algier. You got to find ways to move the ball consistently in this league. You can have a quarterback consistently do that. His defense showed up, in my opinion, most consistent as can be. It's just things couldn't fall his way. Arthur Smith honestly looks like a cool guy. Definitely somebody you would want to get a beer with and whatnot, right? But just obviously in this game, it's all about results, and obviously he wasn't over 500. So, and lastly, and also real quick before we go into this guy, you know he's wearing the wrong colors and team. Falcons is another good team in my opinion. Again, just like I mentioned with the offense, defense, all you need is a respectable quarterback um, to move the ball in that city. So they're definitely hungry for some winning. But yeah, lastly, guys, Ron Rivera, obviously you can see he's wearing the Carolina Panthers. Couldn't find a Commanders one for him, so apologies on that. But his time is over. He went 4-13, and with the first year of the new ownership group, Josh Harrison, obviously they were going to move on. Um, I think they could have a great offseason. Maybe a little Caleb Williams, maybe a little Bill Belichick. Someone that is respectable again out there in the coaching world. So another good option. I think any NFL option for the most part is a good option, obviously. But you have some guys. Obviously, they traded some dudes on the defensive side. The offense can move the ball. So real quick, there's some potential openings, right? So potentially that come to mind, Patriots. So Patriots, they could part ways with Bill Belichick. We'll see what happens. Chicago Bears. That's a possibility if they go away from Eberflus. Technically, I guess you could say the Steelers. Maybe some, even though they're in the playoffs, but maybe like from a Tomlin's perspective, maybe he wants to step away. Again, I heard that on a show earlier today. That's kind of why I just brought it up only. Not much. Maybe another surprise would be like a Cowboys. That's a shocker. But like, say they lose that first game and McCarthy's out. I would say for the rest of the league, I think they're in good shape. I don't see anyone else. Titans. Mike Vrabel. So Mike Vrabel might be. So that those are kind of the potential openings. So there's a few out there still. We have 5 right now. Could go up to 9. Could go up to 10. Could probably end. I'd say around 7. I say the Patriots do move. Move away from Bill Belichick. And I do think the Titans. I think the Bears are going to stay, and then I don't think the Steelers and Tomlin are going to split, especially on Tomlin's end. But we'll see on that. All right, draft order, guys. So again, we'll talk more about kind of what I think on the hiring side of these openings, and definitely probably in the next week. So. The draft order. So we can definitely again talk about the first 18. So Chicago gets the number 1 overall pick because they have the trade from last year. Since Carolina is the worst team at 2-15, so they are in a great position to do some things. They could easily pick a new quarterback at 1. They can move back and still get a quarterback. They can just move back, keep Fields, and try to get like a Marvin Harrison or another lineman or another pass rusher, whatever the effect is or decision. Sorry. Washington's in a great spot in my opinion. They can again. They have a lot of options. I would, and this is really for like how I think Caleb wants things is I think he wants to go home. I think he wants to be closer to home to Maryland. Washington's the closest. You put him there and let him just figure it out in Washington with the new ownership group. That'd be cool. Obviously, again, there's other quarterbacks like Drake May and Jaden Daniels and Michael Penix as well. New England's at 3, at 4-13 as well. They're in a good spot to definitely get a QB. I guess, my opinion, I think first 2 picks, within the first 2 picks, Caleb's gone. So Drake May is the third or second guy in my opinion. So we'll see what happens there. With not including a trade. Arizona gets top the 4 pick. they definitely have a lot of options here. We'll see if Marv Harrison falls there. I doubt it. It's definitely a potential though. And then we have the Chargers at 5. We got the Giants at 6. Tennessee's at 7. Atlanta's at 8. So just real quick, right? So Chargers head coach opening, right? Washington head coach opening. New England potential. Tennessee potential. Atlanta currently, yes. Chicago potential, right? At 9. Then we have the Jets at 10. That's another team if you want to go back. They say no, but I mean, I could see the Jets moving on from Saleh. The guy's head case. I feel like sometimes, just in terms of speaking to the media. You got Minnesota at 11, Denver at 12. I think this would be too much of a huge jump, but somehow I know Sean Payton's been talking about Caleb. When he wasn't coaching and whatnot. Maybe he wants to go there and do his thing. Yeah, meaning like Sean Payton wants to do it, right? So that's a hefty move that they're gonna have to do, right? So I doubt it, but you just never know in this NFL. Vegas at 13. Pretty good to see that like some of these teams, right? They're in the middle of the pack with some of the respectable records. New Orleans 14, Colts 15, Seattle 16, Jacksonville 17, and then Bengals at 18. So that's kind of where it rounds out right now. So here are the wild card losers if we were to lose. So Miami would be 24, right? 24th. Pittsburgh would be 23rd. Rams 22nd. Arizona, which would be Houston's pick, would be at 21. Tampa Bay at 20, and then Green Bay at 19. And then divisional round losers. That's how it looks. And then conference championship losers, and then Super Bowl teams. That's how it kind of would look. So yeah. I'm excited for this draft. Definitely from a quarterback perspective, I'm excited to see where Caleb goes. I'm excited where pretty much most of, if not all, these players go. Right? It's an exciting time for them, for their families, for themselves, for their friends, for their previous coaches and whatnot, the future coaches. So it's definitely a cool and fun and exciting time. So excited to watch in April, and we'll talk more obviously in February and March in terms of prospects. All right, guys, so we got the playoffs, right? The playoffs are set. So first off, congratulations to all the teams that made it to the playoffs, especially congratulations to my Pittsburgh Steelers, and shout out to Mason Rudolph for carrying this team, honestly. Unfortunately, Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky couldn't do it. All right, so we'll start on the left side, Super Wild Card Weekend. So we got Steelers at Buffalo. Okay, this is a Sunday game. I don't know the time, so apologies. Yeah, so Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Steelers at Buffalo. Sounds like there's going to be weather involved in here. That favors my opinion. The Steelers just because of the running attack. I mean, we got Najee, we got Warren. Mason's just finding the open spots and not doing too much. So I'm very excited to see that. I mean, I think they were, what's there to lose, right? Or a wild card team. So I mean, that's how I should be looking at it that's how they should be looking at it from a Steelers perspective. I'm excited to watch all these games, especially that one. Next one, we got Miami Dolphins at the Kansas City Chiefs. So this is going to be a Saturday night game. Real quick before I go on that, the Steelers-Bills game is going to be on CBS. You could also stream it on Paramount Plus. This Dolphins and Chiefs game, 8 p.m. Eastern time. For some reason, this game is going to be on freaking Peacock. I'm not excited about that, so we're going to have to figure that out, to be honest. But this is kind of Tyreek Hill gets to match up against his former team. So that's kind of cool in that dynamic. Obviously, they played in Germany, I believe, in the regular season, so that was kind of cool. We'll see what happens. I think the Chiefs' home field advantage is going to matter. Dolphins aren't historically good against the above 500 teams, So I definitely favor Kansas City in this game. And then we have the last game on Super Bowl for AFC is Browns at Houston. So this game is going to be also on Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on NBC and also Fubo. So for just the second time in 20 years, guys, the Browns are in the playoffs, which is crazy. Good for them. These teams met back in Week 16, but CJ Stroud did not play. So he's going to be playing this game. He's going to be at home. He's got the Houston crowd. I think it's going to be a great match. I think this could be a potential shootout. Obviously, Joe Flacco's been looking good. Cleveland has a solid defense, but I'm excited about this Houston team and CJ Stroud. He's a pretty legit quarterback, man. And so definitely a coin flip, honestly, but maybe it's because some Steelers bias. Got to go with the Texans. And then as you can see, the Ravens get the bye week. So going over to the NFC, you can see here, right? Niners get the bye week, and we're going to go bottom top here. So first one we got on the NFC, we got Eagles at Tampa Bay. So Eagles at Tampa Bay is going to be on Monday, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC on ESPN, as well as Fubo. I mean, the Eagles they honestly are stumbling into the playoffs, but it's hard to win in this game, right? I like the Eagles to still win this game. I think it's going to be an ugly matchup in terms of like how they get the job done, but at the end of the day, they have the better talent on both sides. They just got to put it together. Don't think they're going to want to run, but I think they're able to beat a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. All right, next one. I'm very excited about this one. So, LA Rams going to Detroit Lions, man. First home game in 30 years for the Lions, and they welcome an old friend back to Detroit, man. Matthew freaking Stafford, as well as the Rams get to see Jared Goff, right? That was the Rams' former quarterback with the trade. So it's pretty cool to see like that trade in general, like work for both teams, right? Like the Lions are winning, right? It's the first home playoff game. He's a part of it, right? The Lions, right? And then the Rams, they were able to get over the hump and win the Super Bowl. So just cool to see. But man, are we about to see Matthew Stafford just tear apart the Detroit Lions fans after? I mean, I wouldn't say he left, right? And he's coming there, and they're so excited, and boom, he's the one who makes them go home. Man, that would be wild. I literally cannot wait for this one. It's gonna be weird, but it's gonna be cool at the same time. But I hate to say this, I'm gonna go for the Rams, man. I want to see what that looks like. Matthew Stafford beating his old fans, his old team. And then lastly, guys, Green Bay going to the Cowboys. So that is on Sunday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox. This will be a revenge game, right, for Mike McCarthy, basically, his old team. And then kind of also, if you remember the no catch game or whatnot with Dez back in the day, my opinion, a lot of pressure on the Cowboys. I honestly think you lose this game, Mike McCarthy is not the head coach next year. Jerry Jones man, I just don't. That's tough. That is tough. You finally get the division. I think you really won it at the end of the day, right? You played those games and you played against the Eagles and you got the tiebreaker. But if you lose this game and then the Eagles win, people are going to be like, "Wow, Eagles, like we're really the better team, basically, right?" So a lot of pressure for the Cowboys. I think they get it done, but it's going to be a close game. So that's kind of the playoffs. We'll talk more in depth probably Friday. Kind of really like go in detail more in terms of we'll see. Don't. We'll, yeah, we'll see on that if we're gonna do a preview. I mean, honestly, I've kind of already did a preview just now, so I don't know what else I can really add to the element, right? So, all right, guys, we are we are here. We are at the end of the show, and we are here to talk about the college football national championship. Washington Huskies, 14-0 at, or not at, but facing Michigan Wolverines 14-0 in Houston, Texas. First off, hope all the fans there are safe. I heard there's some tornado warnings. I mean, the weather's crazy right now and whatnot. But cool to see two undefeated teams be in the national championship. It's always something special about that. So this game started at 3.5. It is at 5.5 on ESPN Bet. Over and unders basically stay at 55.5. The big two question marks, basically, right, is questions that will get answered. One is, how will Michigan's secondary look against Washington's wide receivers? Washington's wide receivers, best room in the country. I'm not sure how you can argue that. In my opinion, they got some dogs. They got 3 straight dogs, and I don't care about the stats. McMillan was hurt for most of the season. Would not be shocked if they somehow had three 1,000-yard receivers. So, that is definitely the big thing. Number 2 is how is Washington going to look in the trenches on the defensive side in particular? I mean, really on both sides, really, but I would say more on the defensive side because Michigan's just going to run the ball. I mean, they're going to run the ball down your throat as much as possible, until they have to throw the ball. So that's going to be big key in this matchup. And the Huskies are wearing all white with the gold helmet. Michigan's probably wearing the blue with and all that. I maybe it's because I am a little bit of a West Coast guy, and I've seen this Washington team, and they are a special group. Michigan's a special group, but since I've watched Washington more than Michigan this year, they seem to get it done and find ways to get it done. Don't matter if majority of those, like 67 of those, were in lower level college. You still got to win the games. He's won 3 natties down there. This is his first natty appearance. I mean, this is just wild to me that this is all happening, and so I'm excited for it. I like Washington here. She definitely covered. I will not be shocked if we see Washington win this, and it's Penix Jr. Rome Duze and the crew just getting it done. Dylan Johnson will be healthy, will be available. He was kind of banged up with the knee and the ankle last Monday at the Sugar Bowl, so he is good. He's healthy. Probably going to bring in another running back, obviously, maybe a little bit in the earlier stage of the game to kind of get him a little bit rest in a sense, and then make sure unload him in the second half. But we are an hour and a half away from this match, so from that, guys, please make sure you are subscribing. Subscribe is it doesn't hurt or anything. It really doesn't, guys, and it's much appreciated if you please do that. Don't forget to like as well, and share if you feel like it. But as always, I appreciate you guys all. Catch you guys probably later this week. We'll talk about probably post game of this game and some other stuff as well. But enjoy your guys' Monday. Peace.